by the 1st of March and the fact that it will be comprehensive. So I commend this bill to the House, Mr Speaker.
Andrew Williams.
Well, thank you very much, Mr Chair. Wasn't that very interesting hearing that? Hearing that from Nikki Wagner, the chairman of the Local Government Environment Committee, who obviously doesn't understand the process of submissions, and in that she misled, in a sense, the people of New Zealand listening tonight by saying only 3 people submitted on Part 2. Well, the average New Zealander, Mr Chair, doesn't submit to something on the basis of parts of a bill, Ms Wagner. The average New Zealander, if you know anything about democracy, simply get told about a bill and they simply submit on a bill. They don't submit on parts of a bill. Only those who are very, very knowledgeable about legislation will submit on a part of a bill. So that was extremely misleading. But it's understandable, because this government has commented on the 5 submitters who supported the overall bill and ignored the 90 others out of the 95 who opposed the bill. So typically, they make note of federated farmers, they make note of Business New Zealand, they make note of their cronies and their mates who support it, but they ignore the other 90s because that's not convenient. And it was very interesting, Mr Chairman, that sitting around that committee table in Christchurch as well, how the National Party members gave lip service to many of the submitters, patronised them. In the case of the Honourable Nick Smith, a young 14-year-old submitted to the bill, a 14-year-old, and the Honourable Nick Smith said to him, "Why should we be listening to you when you can't even vote? You're not even eligible to vote." It was shocking. It was shocking.
A point of order, Nikki Wagner.
I'd like to point out that the Honourable Nick Smith was not in the Select Committee.
Order. No, that's a debatable point. It's not for me to judge the validity of comments made. They're debatable points. Members wanting to disagree can take another call. Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Chair. So in this regard, let's just remind the National Party, after the next general election, when there is a new government, there will be local body elections in Canterbury. The Labour Party have said that, New Zealand First have said that, the Green Party have said that. There will be elections in Canterbury for all of Canterbury, for all elements of local government in Canterbury after the next general election. We will ensure that that happens. And any Cantabrians listening to this tonight need to remember that with a change of government, there will be elections in Canterbury. Can I also remind the people sitting on the other benches over there, the people sitting there smirking, who smirked through the submissions at the Select Committee, that they sit on a very, very slim majority in some cases. We're talking about democracy here. We're talking about elections to local government. But I'll remind the member Nikki Wagner, for instance, who's sitting on 12,064 votes up against Brendan Burns on 12,017 votes. I'll remind her that she is sitting on a very slim majority, and that majority will not be there in 18 months' time if she continues with it. I'll remind Curly Tops over to the right too. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. We've already had a caution on this. If any member's going to breach my rulings, their speech will be terminated. The member will withdraw his comment immediately.
I'm sorry, I withdraw, Mr Chairman. I don't know the gentleman myself, but I was just referring to a former comment about that individual. But in terms of Mr Aaron Gilmore, I'll remind him that he got 10,225 votes and lost to Leanne Dalzell, who got 15,159. And at the same time, during the same election, and we were only going for the party vote, New Zealand First got 1,801. So in terms of Christchurch East, which the Prime Minister descended on in a helicopter and only visited by helicopter, thought that was sufficient to go and visit the Christchurch suburbs, that you are dog tucker in terms of Christchurch East. Your party is dog tucker. You are gone.
Order. You must not bring the chair into the debate.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Chair. You are certainly not dog tucker. Nothing like the sort. I would never ever think of you as dog tucker. Don't ever think. Thirdly, the Port Hills. The Port Hills. We have now the now Speaker of the House, David Carter, who got 12,640 votes and lost to the Honourable Ruth Dyson with 15,737 votes. Lost again, another electorate, lost again, and in that electorate, New Zealand First got 1,609 party votes, reminding the National Party, you will be gone. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Speech is terminated.
They will be gone.
I've cautioned the member. Sir William CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.